All right, Brian Teyssier here, Road to Closed Quick Hacks. So what's the best piece of advice I have ever been given, and what was it? So there's different categories, I guess you could say. One of the best pieces of advice was from my mentor, Mark Handlovitch, when I first started. Might have been my first time ever showing buyers houses. And he said to me, whatever you do, because I asked for advice. I'm like, I've never done this before, give me some advice. He's like, whatever you do, when you go into the house with the buyers, don't ever give your personal opinion on whatever, the layout, the style, personal opinion, not fact. So got the buyers, took them out, the very first house, opened the door, went into the kitchen, and I just couldn't even help myself. What do you think the very first thing I did was? Gave my personal opinion on a style. This house, and keep in mind, this is maybe 15 years ago. This house had blue Corian countertops. I mean like bright blue. And I had flipped houses. I had been flipping houses, so I've been taking old stuff out and putting new stuff in. And I saw that. And I mean, I think as it was coming out, I could hear Mark in the back, and I was trying to pull it back in. And I was like, oh my God, look at these ugly blue countertops. Guess who liked those ugly blue countertops? That's right. The buyer's like, oh, I don't think they're too bad. If I could have just punched myself in the mouth, I would have. And I think in 15 years, maybe one other time, I did the same thing. Not the blue countertops, but I gave my opinion, and the buyer liked what I didn't like. And immediately I said to myself, I could hear Mark in the background telling me again, I was like, but listen, one time in 15 years, I'm going to give myself a mulligan. So that's not too terrible. So the best piece of advice I have that I regurgitate this onto other realtors. It's not a major piece of advice. It's not a life-saving piece of advice. It is, keep your mouth shut on personal opinion when the buyers are going through the house until you hear their opinion. And another little sub piece of advice on this is I'm always honest, right? I'm never car salesman, trying to get the sale. I guess realtors are like that too, just trying to get the sale. So if there's a blue countertop, right, and the buyer loves it, I don't say anything. I don't like it, but I'm not going to also agree. Oh my God, that blue countertop is so amazing. Can you imagine having your Thanksgiving dinner and putting all your pots and pans and salad bowls on that blue countertop? Like, I'm not going to sell them on something I don't believe in. So we're going to shift to another piece of advice I tell buyers, agents all the time, and I still practice this, and actually as a listing agent as well, is I'm completely honest. If you don't know me, super honest. I'm going to always give you a professional opinion of what I'm seeing out there in the real estate world. If you ask for my personal opinion, which sometimes meshes, I think over the years, the 15 years, my personal and professional have kind of meshed together. So my personal switched to what professional opinions of things are. So what I do since day one as a realtor to gain buyers specifically, what I do to gain their trust is I am honest about the physical attributes of the house. So if the house is next to a power tower, and I mean directly next to a power tower, I'm going to tell those buyers, because they may not realize, maybe first-time home buyers, maybe elder buyers, etc. Okay, if you like the house and the lot and everything, but just do be aware that this power tower is a negative on resale. So some buyers don't care about resale, and they'll say, listen, that's okay, we love the house. Okay, hey, I did my job. I just want to point out for something you might not have seen, or resale, that's a problem. I go to almost all my home inspections with my home inspector, Tim Quinn from Pillar to Post. Love him. He's taught me so much. Another piece of advice, I recommend all buyers agents go to as many home inspections as possible. Can't make them all, I get it, but try to make it, because the buyers love when you're there. They love it. It shows them that you care. So I've learned what is a good roof, like the shingles, roughly their life expectancy, furnace, all the big ticket items I've learned from Tim and flipping houses, HVAC, foundation, windows, electric, etc. And I will give my professional factual opinion on all that stuff in the house. It's not objective. It's not subjective. It's factual. Okay. And I'm never going to nail myself to it. So I always open up with, I'm not a roofer, but I've got enough home inspections. I can tell the age of that roof is a little more towards the end of its life than the beginning of its life. It might have, shingles are 30 to 40 year shingles. It might have 10 years left. Boom. I put in the word might, could, I give a range, I disclose I'm not a roofer. So it's okay to give professional opinion based on what you've been seeing showing houses, but you certainly don't want to nail yourself to it. Oh my God, that electric, I mean, you don't even know if it's good or bad. Oh, it needs all replaced. I mean, I never say that anyway. I always defer to a electrical contractor or a home inspector, because you show the house before the home inspector comes. And it's really nice whenever you say all these things. The roof looks like it might have 10 years. It's more towards the end of it's like hot water tanks, the dates are right on them. Furnaces, can't really tell a lot of times. So, listen, I can tell if it's like a huge one and it's rusted and dusty. I can tell the furnace is probably original, so you probably should budget, $5,000 to $10,000 for a furnace and HVAC. And it's really nice whenever you get it under contract, you come in with the home inspector and he says the same exact damn thing. Hey, the roof, it's a little bit older. If I got about 10 years left, it's more towards the end of its life than the beginning of its life. The hot water tank, you can see the date. It was, manufactured in 87. It's 2023. So I would budget for a new hot water tank. Furnace, the home inspectors can pull the front off and usually run the serial numbers through some sort of database to tell the exact age. But if you go to enough of these houses, you can kind of tell what a new furnace is. Middle-aged furnace and an older furnace. I mean, the hot water tank, if it's a little sketchy, what I do is I even tell the buyers, or the hot water comes out and cold water goes in. If it's rusted and corroded, probably not brand new, probably not more towards the beginning of his life. So I even tell them, hey, listen, this is how I kind of unprofessionally tell. A home inspector will tell us, but you can see all the rust and corrosion, all the dust on it, probably not new. And conversely, if it is brand new, I tell them, look, there's no dust and corrosion, etc. So I try to give advice to the buyers and I tell them right up front, I'm acting as your parent, your guardian. And that's really what our role is. That's what our responsibility is. So I kind of digress, but that's kind of some of the advice. And I give that same advice to sellers when they have me over to look at their house, try to figure out what the price is. I walk through, I look at the furnace, look at the water tank, and I tell them ahead of time. I set the level of expectation ahead of time. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk through. I'm just going to look at like the major mechanicals and stuff like that, and I'm going to see if there's anything I can give you a small honey-do list, something that's not going to cost a lot of money, but maybe needs to freshen up the property. Now that we're no longer in that rapid sell mode, we have to go back to, might need to paint the baseboards. Oh, the hole in the interior door, your son punched through it. I probably should get a new door slab there. I mean, before we didn't have to worry about that. Now we're kind of going back to that. Oh, your HVAC looks a little middle-aged or more towards the end of its life. Do you get a service regularly? Service regularly? What? Do you change the air filter annually? It has a filter in it? Oh my God. Let's have an HVAC company come out and do a service call on it. So that's the advice. Brian Teyssier, Road to Close, quick hacks. Let me know, please. I'm always open. I would love to hear what you guys think. Buyers, do you have any horror stories? How was your agent? Did they point anything out? I mean, I've heard horror stories where some agents keep their mouths closed. They don't even do a walkthrough prior to closing because they're afraid the deal's going to fall apart. Obviously, I'm not a very good realtor, so I've heard both sides of it. So I'd like to hear your comments. Reply to the email, comment below, let me know.